My sister seized our family's hardware store, locking me and our brother out of our legacy. I'm fighting her legal threats and rebuilding with a new gig, determined to reclaim what's mine spite her ruthless power grab. Hey everyone, my name's Amelia, I'm 28 years old, and I'm honestly at my wit's end with this whole mess. I've been lurking on Reddit for a while, and I figured this might be the place to get some outside perspective because I'm starting to question everything. My choices, my family, my sanity. So here's the deal. My older sister, Harper, took over our family business and basically kicked me and our younger brother, Liam, to the curb. It's been a slow burn to get here, but now it's full-on chaos, and I don't even know what to feel anymore. Let me break it down for you. Our family's got this small hardware store, nothing fancy, just a local spot that's been around since I was a kid. Dad started it back in the day, and it's been the kind of place where people come in for screws or a new hammer and end up chatting for 20 minutes about their latest DIY project. Growing up, it was our life. Mom handled the books, Dad ran the floor, and us kids were always around, stacking shelves, sweeping up, or just messing around in the back. It wasn't some big empire, but it paid the bills and kept us tied as a family. Or at least, I thought it did. Harper's 32, the oldest, and she's always been the responsible one. You know the type, bossy, organized, always acting like she's got it all figured out. She's got this sharp edge to her, like she's judging you even when she's smiling. Liam's 25, the baby of the family, and he's more laid back, funny, a little lazy sometimes, but he's got a good heart. Me? I'm the middle kid, the one who's always trying to keep the peace, maybe too much. I'm not perfect, God knows I've got my flaws, but I've poured my soul into that store, same as the rest of them. Things started shifting about 5 years ago when Dad got sick. It was lung cancer, and it hit fast. He was in and out of the hospital for a year before he passed, and during that time, the store became our lifeline. Mom stepped back because she couldn't handle it emotionally, so it was mostly me, Harper, and Liam keeping it afloat. I'd be there every morning opening up, dealing with customers, fixing whatever broke. Harper took over ordering stock and managing the bigger decisions, which made sense. She's got a head for that stuff. Liam chipped in too, mostly on weekends, though he'd slack off sometimes, which Harper never let him forget. Dad always said the store was for all of us. I remember sitting with him near the end, when he could barely talk, and he grabbed my hand and said, "You kids keep this going, okay? It's yours." I took that to heart. I figured we'd split it 3 ways, maybe not on paper, but in spirit. Harper was there too, nodding along, so I assumed she got it. Liam was off somewhere that day, probably avoiding the hospital because it freaked him out, but I told him later what Dad said. We all agreed, the store was ours. Fast forward to last year. Mom's still a wreck after Dad, so she's basically checked out. The store's doing okay, not great, but we're scraping by. I'm working 50-hour weeks, Harper's calling the shots, and Liam's in and out when he feels like it. Then Harper drops the bomb. She calls us to this family meeting at her apartment, which should have been my first red flag. She never invites us over unless she's got an agenda. We sit down, and she's got this smug look, like she's about to win something. She says, "I've been talking to a lawyer. The store's mine now. I'm taking it over, and you two need to step back." I'm sorry, what? I just sat there, stunned, while Liam laughed like it was a joke. But she wasn't kidding. She pulled out some paperwork, stuff she'd gotten drawn up without telling us, and said since she'd been running things and putting in the most effort, it was only fair. She claimed Dad left it to her in some verbal agreement none of us ever heard about. I called BS right there. I said, "Harper, you can't just decide that. We've all been in this. I've been killing myself for that place." She didn't even flinch, just looked at me like I was a kid throwing a tantrum and said, "You're not cut out for this, Amelia. Neither is Liam. I'm doing us all a favor." Liam finally piped up, all pissed off, asking how she could pull this behind our backs. She shot back that he barely shows up, so he's got no say. That shut him up quick, but I wasn't letting it go. I told her Dad wanted it for all of us, not just her, and she laughed, actually laughed, and said, "Dad's not here. I am. And I'm not running a charity for you two." Then she hit us with the real kicker. She was cutting us out. No more hours, no more pay, nothing. If we wanted to stick around, we'd be employees, under her, minimum wage, no stake in it. I walked out before I said something I'd regret. That was 6 months ago, and it's been a dumpster fire since. Harper's running the store like it's her personal kingdom. She changed the locks. Yeah, the actual locks, so I can't even get in without begging her for a key. She's got new staff, some random people she hired off the street, and she's acting like Liam and I never existed. I went in once to grab my stuff from the back, and she watched me the whole time like I was going to steal something. It was humiliating. Here's where it gets messy, eh? The money. The store's never been a gold mine, but it was enough to keep us going. I was counting on my cut, not a lot, maybe a couple grand a month, to cover rent and bills. Now that's gone, and I'm scrambling. I've got a part-time gig at a coffee shop, but it's not the same. Liam's pissed too, but he's got a side hustle fixing cars, so he's not hurting as bad. Harper? She's fine. She's living better than ever. New car, fancy clothes, and I'm pretty sure she's pocketing everything the store makes. I asked her about it once, over text, and she said, "It's my business now. Worry about yourself." Cold as ice. Then there's Mom. She's always had a soft spot for Harper, her perfect daughter. When I told her what happened, I thought she'd back me up. Nope. She just sighed and said, "Harper knows what she's doing. You should trust her." Trust her? After she stabbed us in the back? I lost it a little, told Mom she was picking favorites like always, and we haven't talked much since. Liam's no help either. He's mad at Harper, but he won't confront her. He says stuff like, "She's always been a control freak, just let her have it," which drives me nuts. I'm the only one fighting this, and it's exhausting. The backstory's got layers too. Growing up, Harper was the golden child. Straight A's, never in trouble, the one Mom and Dad bragged about. I was the messy one, decent grades, but I'd sneak out or skip class sometimes. Liam was the goofball, always making people laugh, but never taking anything seriously. The store was where I felt like I mattered. I'd spend hours there after school, learning from Dad, fixing displays, talking to the regulars. Harper treated it like a job. I treated it like home. Liam was somewhere in between. He'd help out, but he'd rather be anywhere else. So when Harper pulled this, it wasn't just about money. It felt like she was erasing everything I'd put into it. There's this one memory that keeps popping up. A couple years back, before Dad got sick, we had this big storm that flooded the store. Water everywhere, inventory ruined, the whole deal. Harper was freaking out about costs. Liam was useless, just standing there whining, and I was the one wading through the muck with Dad, salvaging what we could. We worked all night, laughing through it, even though it sucked. He hugged me after and said, "You're the heart of this place, kid." I keep hearing that in my head, and then I see Harper locking me out, and it's like a punch to the gut. I've tried talking to her since it all went down. I went over to her place last month, thinking maybe we could work it out. She let me in, but it was like talking to a brick wall. I said, "Harper, this isn't fair. We're family." She cut me off and said, "Family doesn't mean I owe you anything. I'm saving the business. You just drag it down." That hurt more than the lockout. She's rewritten history, acting like I'm some deadbeat who never cared, when I was there every damn day. I left crying, and she didn't even blink. Liam's take is different. He thinks Harper's always been power-hungry, and we should have seen it coming. He's half checked out, says he's done with the family drama, but I can tell he's hurt too. He won't admit it, though. He just cracks jokes and changes the subject. Meanwhile, I'm stuck in this loop, replaying every fight, every late night at the store, wondering if I could have stopped this. Maybe if I'd pushed harder when Dad was alive, gotten something in writing, Harper wouldn't have had the chance to pull this crap. The store's still running, from what I hear. I drive by sometimes, not to go in, just to look. It's got a new sign now, Harper's Hardware, like we never existed. Customers still come, clueless about the war behind it. I saw one of the regulars the other day at the gas station, old Mr. Jenkins, and he asked why I'm not there anymore. I mumbled something about moving on, but inside I was screaming. Harper's taken everything. Our work, our legacy, our family, and she's acting like it's her birthright. I've thought about fighting back. Lawyer up, maybe, see if I've got a case. But that takes money I don't have, and Mom's on Harper's side, so I'd be alone in it. Liam won't pitch in. He's too busy pretending it's not his problem. I've even fantasized about showing up at the store, making a scene, telling everyone what she did. But then I'd just look like the crazy one, right? Harper's got the upper hand. She's calm, collected, playing this smart businesswoman card while I'm over here falling apart. The emotional toll's the worst part. I'm angry all the time, at Harper, at Mom, at Liam, at myself. I miss the store, not just the money but the routine, the people, the feeling of being part of something. Now I'm stuck pouring coffee for rude customers who don't even tip, while Harper's living her best life off what we all built. I keep asking myself if I'm overreacting. She's my sister. Yeah, but does that mean I have to roll over and take this? Or am I the idiot for thinking family meant something to her? There's this nagging guilt too. Maybe Harper's right. Maybe I wasn't cut out for it. I'm not as organized as her, not as ruthless. I cared too much about the little stuff, the customers, the memories, while she was focused on the bottom line. Did I screw myself by not playing her game? Or is she just an a-hole who betrayed us because she could? I don't know anymore. So here I am, spilling my guts to strangers online because I've got nowhere else to turn. I just want to know, am I the problem here? Am I being unreasonable for fighting this? Or is Harper the one who's out of line? I keep going back and forth, and it's eating me up. Any thoughts would be appreciated, because I'm seriously lost.
Update incoming.
Update. This is what has happened since then. Hey everyone. It's been a while since I last posted about the whole mess with Harper taking over the family hardware store and kicking me and Liam out. I didn't expect so many of you to weigh in last time. Thanks for that, seriously. It's been about 4 months since then, and a lot's gone down. Some of it's better, some of it's worse, and there's a new curveball I didn't see coming. Figured I'd update you all since I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. After Harper locked me out, literally and figuratively, I was a wreck for a while. I drive by the store some nights, just sitting in my car across the street, watching the lights go off and feeling like I'd lost a piece of myself. I was stuck at that coffee shop job, steaming lattes for people who barely looked at me, and every shift felt like a reminder of how far I'd fallen. Money was tight, rent was late twice, and I had to borrow from a friend to cover it. I kept thinking about Dad, how he'd hate seeing us like this, and it had hit me all over again that Harper didn't care. She'd won, and I was scrambling. Harper, though, she's thriving, or at least she's acting like it. The store's still running, and from what I can tell, she's leaning hard into the boss lady vibe. She's got that new sign, Harper's Hardware, and I've heard she's been pushing online ads and even started selling some trendy tools to pull in younger customers. It's working too. Business looks steady, maybe even better than when we were all in it together. She's still got those random employees she hired, and I've seen her around town in that shiny new car, looking like she doesn't have a worry in the world. It stings, knowing she's built that off what we all put in, but she's playing it like she's the hero who saved the place single-handedly. Liam. He's still mad at Harper, but he's not doing much about it. He's leaned harder into his car-fixing gig, and it's keeping him afloat. We've hung out a few times, mostly grabbing beers and venting, but he's got this, whatever, it's over attitude that drives me up the wall. Like, he'll say, she's always been a control freak, let her crash and burn, and then change the subject to some dumb story about a carburetor he rebuilt. I get it. He's coping, but it leaves me feeling like I'm the only one still carrying this fight. We're still close, I guess, but there's this distance now, like he's checked out of the family mess and I haven't. The big shift came about a month ago. I'd been scraping by, barely sleeping, when I got a call from an old regular at the store, this guy named Tom who used to come in for nails and chat Dad's ear off. He's got his own little construction business now, nothing huge, but steady. He'd heard through the grapevine what Harper did, small towns, word travels, and he asked if I'd be up for helping him out. Not full-time, just freelance stuff like sourcing supplies, managing orders, that kind of thing. I jumped at it. It's not the store, but it's something, you know? I've been working with him a couple days a week, and it's the first time in months I've felt useful. The pay's decent too, enough to stop panicking about bills, and it's got me thinking maybe I can build something of my own. That's the good part. The bad part? Harper found out. I don't know how. Maybe Tom mentioned it to someone. Maybe she saw me dropping off supplies, but she lost it. She called me up, first time we'd talked since that blowout at her place, and she was furious. "You're stealing my customers," she said, like I'd planned some grand sabotage. I told her Tom came to me, not the other way around, and I wasn't even selling anything, just helping out. She didn't care. She went off about how I'm undermining her, how I'm too pathetic to let go, and then she dropped this gem. "Dad would be ashamed of you." That hit me hard. I hung up, shaking, and haven't answered her calls since. She's texted a few times, mostly nasty stuff about how I'm a leech, but I'm done engaging. Then there's Mom. We'd barely talked since I called her out for picking Harper's side, but she showed up at my apartment a couple weeks ago, out of nowhere. She looked tired, older than I remembered, and she just sat there on my couch, sipping tea I made her, not saying much at first. Finally, she admitted she hates how things are. She said Harper's been different lately, distant, snappy even with her, and Mom's starting to see the cracks. She didn't apologize, exactly, but she said, "I didn't think it'd go this far." I wanted to scream, "What did you expect?" But I held back. We talked a little more, and she hinted Harper's been asking her for money. Like, a lot, to invest in the store. Mom's not sure if it's legit or if Harper's just flexing. It's the first time I've seen her doubt her golden child, and it felt weirdly validating, but it doesn't fix anything. Liam's take on that is grim. He thinks Harper's spending more than the store's making. New car, new ads, new everything. And she's digging a hole. He's half hoping she crashes, but I'm not sure I want that. If the store goes under, it's not just her loss. It's Dad's legacy gone. I hate her guts right now, but I don't know if I can stomach watching it all burn. And here's the new problem. Legal trouble. Last week, I got a letter from some lawyer Harper hired. It's not a lawsuit yet, but it's a cease and desist thing, claiming I'm interfering with her business by working with Tom. It's nonsense. I'm not competing with her. I'm not even in retail, but she's trying to scare me off. Tom laughed it off, said it's a bluff, but I'm freaking out. I can't afford a lawyer, and if she pushes this, I could lose the one good thing I've got going. I keep imagining her smirking as she signed off on this, like she's not done kicking me while I'm down. It's not just about the store anymore. It's personal, and she's coming for whatever's left. Emotionally, I'm all over the place. Working with Tom's been a lifeline, but every time I think I'm getting my footing, Harper finds a way to yank it back. I'm proud of myself for not giving up, but I'm so tired of fighting, tired of losing sleep over her next move. I've been having these dreams where I'm back in the store with Dad. Everything's normal, and then I wake up to this. It sucks. Liam keeps telling me to let it go, move on. But how do you move on when your sister's hell-bent on erasing you? Mom's wavering's got me thinking too. Part of me wants to reach out, see if we can team up and talk some sense into Harper, but that feels like a long shot. She's still half in Harper's corner, and I don't trust her not to flip again. Plus, with this legal crap hanging over me, I don't even know where to start. I've been Googling free legal advice, but it's overwhelming, and I'm scared I'll mess it up. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I've got a sliver of hope with this new gig, but Harper's still out there, swinging. Liam's checked out, Mom's a wild card, and now I've got this lawyer nonsense to deal with. I keep asking myself if I'm dumb for not walking away, or if Harper's the one who's gone too far. Am I in the wrong for keeping this fight alive? I don't even know anymore, just hoping you all can help me sort it out again.
Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the story. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our daily updates.